Good evening, Palace fans, near and far. Welcome to the Red and Blue Review. Tonight we're going to pick the bones, and there are a few, of the now usual Selhurst Park 1-1 draw with our M23 rivals, Brighton. I'm ably assisted tonight by a panel that includes ex-Palace captain Jim Cannon, supporters Ian Noble and Tim Richards and Jason Cable. Cable, welcome everyone. And to Lucy Usher, she's producing behind the scenes. So, Jim, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. A lot better if we'd have got 3 points last night, mind you.
Yeah, well, I think that's pretty much the same as all of us. Ian, how you doing?
Yeah, evening, Jel. Yeah, like Jim, I'm still not over it. Not quite, anyway.
Well, again, much the same as everyone. Tim Richards, good morning, mate. Down in New Zealand, you're already in tomorrow. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm not as gutted as other people. It's just good performance, but nice to see everyone.
Yeah. And Jason Cadle, I know you was here last night, Jay. How you doing? I think Jay's got us on mute. Anyway. So a night that ended in probably shocked frustration instead of the sort of deserved celebration under the lights in SE25. In all honesty, it looked a good game for the neutral on TV, I suppose. But for most I've talked to, it was pretty good from the stands. Again, the frustration of last night. Could we have won? Should we have won? Well, yeah, I suppose we would have. Jim, what was it like from the posh seats where you were sitting? What was the actual the mood of the game beforehand? Were people, were they looking forward to it? Was there trepidation? Because it's always quite a tight game against Brighton anyway.
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't in the posh seats. I was sitting at home watching the box, like probably a lot of other people. It was. I think it was obviously frustrating. I think it's always frustrating when you give a goal away in the 94th minute, and especially the manner of the goal, which could have been completely sort of not happened. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. But the only way I reflect back last season, we had 2 touches of the ball in 90 minutes and beat them 2-1. So probably they felt a little bit of justice from last year. So I mean, it's annoying because it should have been 3 points, but the game's not finished until the referee blows that final whistle. So it was unfortunate, especially having played so well.
Absolutely. Well, what we'll do, we'll start. I'll start here now. Just go through the team very quickly. Guaita, Ward, Gay, Anderson, Mitchell, Milivojevic, MacArthur, Gallagher, Ayew, Zaha, Edouard, and the subs were Butland, Klein, Kelly, Kouate, Hughes, Schlupp, Elise, Mateta, and Benteke. I think what we'll do, I was a bit surprised, Ian, that Elise didn't come in for Ayew, and as it seemed to prove. What were your sort of thoughts on Elise not starting? Bearing in mind, people are saying he's not fit, but he played a whole game for the 23s a few days before, and he had a half as well. He's had enough football, in my point of view.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see Michael Elise soon from the start, but I don't think last night was the game to start him for a debut, first start. The atmosphere last night, let's be clear about this, it was absolutely white hot inside Selhurst. I mean, you saw it on the TV, guys. Jim, you missed a good one to be in the ground. It was rocking, absolutely rocking. You could almost feel it rocking. And the Holmesdale fanatics did us proud. They've got their fans, they've got people thinking, it's all about them. But the display was first class. You've seen that. And under those lights, it was a very, very special evening. So I think there was so much at stake. There was this added twist that if Brighton had won, they went top of the Premier League, which was unthinkable for all of us. So I think he plays a team that he could trust. He's a big IU fan, Patrick Vieira. I think if you see his post-match interview, and we'll maybe come on to that later, you will see he talks about IU and wanting to reinstill his confidence as a striker after that miss in the second half. So I wasn't overly surprised to see Elise missing. I think we will see him. But, as for selection last night, it was what I probably would have expected with Edouard to start instead of Benteke.
Tim, I believe that me and you sit in the same camp when it comes to Jordan. What were your thoughts?
I did hear during the week or just before that Elise was injured, but I don't know how reliable that was or how correct. I can understand Ian's point about was it the right game, but I certainly think it was the right game for Hughes to start instead of IU. Yeah, we agree. He's a headless chicken, and then we'll go on to his miss in the second half. It wasn't just a case that he missed; it wasn't even on target. So I'm with you on that one.
Okay, Jim. Any thoughts on the actual team that was picked?
Yeah, I'll probably have to go along with Ian. I think he's just picked experience. He's got quite a few young lads there. He's not played a lot. He's had a few little run-outs. IU is as bad as he can be sometimes. I thought he didn't do too bad last night. Yeah. He got at them quite a lot because we obviously had a lot of possession. The miss, 9 times out of 10, you'd probably think he would score it, but it wasn't to be. But yeah, obviously, Elise is going to be somebody that we're going to be looking to get in the team and put bums off of seats because he's that type of player. But I probably thought last night was the right team that he put out for that particular game.
Okay, cool. Jason? You got the gist of the conversation. The right team to have picked last night.
I was a bit surprised about Luca playing. However, I thought he had quite a good game. I was a bit surprised to see him in the starting lineup. I'll go along with Jim. I think he's picked experience, and he's picking IU because of his work rate. He does put in a big shift, doesn't he, IU? And I think it's too early to put in some of these younger lads in such a big game. He's going for experience, and we had to keep it tight, or we had to be on the front foot the first 45 minutes. So, no, I think it was the right team selection. Like I said, I was a bit surprised about Luca, but he ended up playing very well. So, no qualms from me really.
Okay, well, let's get on with the first half summary. First 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was out of the two halves, it was the better half for us, the first half. Obviously, we scored the goal and they scored theirs in the second half. But I thought we passed the ball really well in the final third. We had a high press, which was important. Gallagher was everywhere. I saw a tweet online this week which made me smile this morning that said 2/3 of the world is covered in water. The other third is covered by Conor Gallagher. And it was a bit like that last night, wasn't it? He was absolutely everywhere. I think his shot from the left that was blocked by Dunk was a good early chance. There was nice one-touch passing around the box move where Edouard shot on the edge of the box. They had a couple of chances as well in the first half, where Mitchell got undone once by them on our left flank, at left back, and I think it was Trossard hit the side netting. And there was a chance for Welbeck in the first half where their keeper just kicked it right down the pitch, route one. It bounced once or twice. Welbeck got onto it and Guaita saved. Now, another time he gets a better connection, he scores. And that was a little bit of a warning for the goal, I thought, when I look back on it. They were a bit of a route one team, Brighton. And, more in the second half, they had more set pieces to their centre-backs. But we finished the half strongly. Obviously got the goal, got the penalty. I think Conor Gallagher was brilliant. Interesting. We talked about IU earlier. He was linking up the play very, very well on the right-hand side. It was him that passed to Gallagher before he took the run. And it was a foul for me, definite penalty. And Wilf held his nerve. And it was interesting because watching him from where I was sitting in the main stand, and up above him was the big screen, and there was a close-up of him. So he's standing there with a ball, and if he looks up, he sees a big picture of himself. And that must be quite off-putting if he did look up. I don't think he did. He was just focused on taking a penalty kick, and he put it nice, low and hard to the left, to the keeper's right. So it was 1-0. An interesting comment on the commentary that I didn't know until I got home and I watched the rerun is that it was 10 years to the day since Wilf first scored against Brighton. What a great stat that is, isn't it? And that was the 3-1 at the Amex when we were the first team to beat them down there. So yeah.
It's a strange.
So good half, and we deservedly go in 1-0.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jay, the Brighton players protested madly, especially Trossard. Well, you would really. Pen or no pen?
Well, just before we come to the pen, just want to say, I mean, obviously you're right. It was great. It was a ball from Ayew to set up the goal. It was a great tackle by Waldy. I don't know if you remember it, but it was absolute amazing tackle by Waldy. I mean, if he doesn't get the ball, he's going to get sent off for that. But what a tackle by Waldy. Obviously, the ball then goes to Ayew. He then passes it. And the first thing I thought was that Cucurella actually pushes him first before he gets taken out by Trossard. So for me, it was almost like a double penalty because Gallagher, for me, got pushed. If you watch it, I watched it a few times, he gets pushed first. He gets pushed. The guy isn't going for the ball. It's a blatant push. Then he gets shoulder barged and taken out. So I think the ref notes it's a blatant penalty. I don't know what they were protesting about. I don't know what they were saying. They were saying number one or something. I don't know what they were saying. But for me, it was a blatant penalty. Blatant penalty. But I'm going to say that. But I honestly thought it was 2 fouls. Which one he gave it for, I don't know. I think he gave it for Trossard, but for me there was a push before it. If you watch it, there's a push, a blatant push, and they even gave that on the commentary. You know, he gets pushed first, then he gets taken out. Definitely. You know, they're not going for the ball, are they? They weren't going for the ball.
No, not at all. No.
And then Will steps up.
You're right.
You know,
it was
possibly one of the coolest.
Yeah, no, like you said, it was definite penalty. Tim.
Cast iron penalty. There was no doubt about it. But then they always do it. I mean, we had it against Spurs when their defender decides to stick his arm up like that, gives away a handball, and then immediately says nothing happened. So it's just what they do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jim.
But did you see the push before the actual shoulder bar? Did you all see that?
Yeah.
I didn't really see it. Well, I only saw it when I watched it again today. You know, I didn't see it first. But
I saw it. The lad pushed Gallagher, which took him more into Trossard. But I mean, it wasn't a shoulder sort of challenge. It was just a blatant barge, and that was 100% penalty. But players are going to. I mean, the comment there. I don't know what they're moaning about. It doesn't matter what sort of penalty it is. Players will have a moan. They're looking for VAR now, so they know they might have a chance of getting it changed. So they're not going to just accept any decision now when it comes to VAR, but when VAR's involved. So they're going to get round the referee and make the referee maybe think, whoa, was it a penalty? But I mean, that was blatant, and obviously VAR took about 5 seconds to decide that it was 100%. I mean, it was. I can understand. You've seen challenges like that where it's been shoulder to shoulder, and it's been nothing's happened. But this wasn't. I mean, as Gallagher turned, he just collided into the back of him. He had no chance of getting the ball, so it was 100% penalty, and Wilf took it very calmly.
He did. He certainly did, and that was the same as the pen from last week as well, where he fainted to go to. He went to the right last time, and last night he went to the left. But going back to the Welbeck challenge from Ward, who I thought had a fantastic game. I know they targeted him in the first
Yeah, I agree.
maybe around about 15 minutes when they were able to get out their own half and have a little bit of a go at us, they did come down the left-hand side. But he soon sorted that out. I thought he had an amazing game. But I just had the thought that there was a VAR review about the challenge. And I have a feeling against the bigger club that might just have gone against us. But I think the referee done well. He still can't smile when he referees us, Andre Mariner. But yeah, I thought that was the right. Ward wasn't looking to try and tackle him. He was trying to just get there. And had he stuck his leg out, I think it would have been. But yeah, kick on kick, it wasn't. So Tim, what we got in the comments, mate? I can see there's a few gone through.
Yeah, Statman Croucher has come up with a good one. Apparently, Will Zaha has now scored 8 goals against Brighton in his career, all competitions, the most he has scored against any side in English football. A lot of other people are saying, yeah, definite penalty. No questions there. Joan said Zaha played really well. It was a shame we only got a draw. Must have felt like a defeat to the players. Claire, definite penalty. Paul Glance said a rude word, so I can't say that one. Colin Squires was saying regarding the Brighton penalty shout with what's his name? Welbeck. He caught the leg rather than Ward catching him, and that annoyed me because we see different commentary down here, and all the halftime talk about was how Brighton should have had a penalty because Ward definitely fouled Welbeck, and it's just like, nah, rubbish. But there we go. So yeah, lots of comments about that. Number 3, yeah. So a lot of positive comments about the performance, but yeah, most obviously it was a definite penalty.
Well, let's go back to the
penalty. Can I just come in? Sorry, Joe. Can I just come in with the penalty? We talked about Will putting it to the right against Spurs. He put it to the left, or as he's looking at a goal the other night. I think he waits till the keeper moves, doesn't he, Wilf? He's that good a player. He doesn't decide where he's going to hit it, straight away. He waits and he looks at the keeper and he looks to see where the keeper moves because it was low and hard to the left. If the keeper goes the right way, he's got a chance of saving that. But I think he waits till the keeper moves.
Yeah, I noticed that last night.
Even if he goes the right way, he doesn't save that.
I noticed that last night when I was watching him. As he was running up, he was actually looking at the keeper. So I don't think he's one of these players that makes his mind up. He's quite happy to let the keeper make his decision, and then he goes the other way. I mean, I suppose if the keeper stands still, then he's got to think on his feet quite quick. But in general, most keepers will move one way or the other. So yeah, and he takes it really well, and that's quite a hard thing to do because you're sort of, it's probably easier just to pick a spot and whack it in there, but the way he does it is really good. So, and it was a good penalty.
I wonder if
he certainly was.
The penalty, or do you reckon that's all sorted before the game?
Sorry?
I wonder if Luca fancied the penalty. Because obviously he used to be the penalty taker, didn't he? So I guess that's been sorted out before the match.
I'm sure it has, Jason. Yeah, I'm sure it has. He was quick to get the ball, Wilf, and don't forget Milivojevic was on the pitch for the Spurs pen as well. So that's twice now that Wilf's. So I think Wilf's definitely on pens this season. Yeah,
without a doubt. So the first half performance, I just want to go back a couple of years because I know you guys most of you would have been at the game when Brighton came to us and they literally played us off the park. I think it was the 3-1 game where we just couldn't get the ball off them. The only
2-1.
Stats, scoring stats were again silly, but they were playing Dan Burn out on the wide right, and they just kept coming in a big U shape from right to and they didn't do that last night, but we did, and there was the change of attitude and aptitude in the setup of the team, where we now have got two complete ballers. I'm not saying that we haven't had really good centre backs, because we have, but these two, they do seem to be from the Rolls Royce school of centre backs, because they are both fantastic ballers. I thought we played really, really well. We kept the ball well. We dictated the pace, and that's been one of the things at home that's changed without. And I was just wondering, Jim, from the football that you've seen in the last few years, which has been effective, and it was designed to keep us in the Premier League, and it did so. But the difference in Vieira, who everyone said had everywhere he'd been, to Nice and wherever he hadn't been successful, he looks to have instilled quite a more aesthetic on the eye football play within the. What's your take on sort of this year as opposed to last year?
Well, you just highlighted Brighton last year, where they probably run as ragged at times. And that was quite consistent with lots of teams, especially teams even round us and beneath us, where we would wonder after 45 minutes why they've been all over us. And I think that was a system. I mean, Roy Hodgson, basically his attacking play was on the break, whereas Patrick Vieira's come in, and bearing in mind the type of player and the teams he played for, he's trying to get Palace to play in that style, but in a controlled way. We've obviously got, you mentioned the two centre halves who can pick passes out into the middle, in behind. So the whole thing's different. You know, we look like a progressive team now that wants to play football in the other half as opposed to in our own half. The only thing I would say, and I think it will come and it will get better, is where we used to breaking before, we've only maybe had one or two players getting into the box. So Wilfred or maybe Ayew or Andrews Townsend last season, they would be doing things on their own. Whereas now we're getting loads of players into the box and around the box that maybe I would like to see Wilfred, and if it's Ayew out wide, maybe just get balls into the box a little bit earlier rather than maybe try to do it all on their own. But I think that will come purely because the way we're playing, and some of these players have had to play a system for the past 2 or 3 seasons that they were conditioned not really to go and attack. Whereas these players, I mean, anybody that's watched us over the last half a dozen games can see that there's such a difference in style, and controlled and with lots of play. Even at Liverpool last week, lots of possession, lots of ball, and with better players as well. So I think it's all looking good, and hopefully it will continue.
Tim?
Yeah, following on from what Jim was said, something that struck me during this game, and I've been the biggest Wilf critic over the last couple of years, as much as anybody else, but to me, isn't it a completely different Wilf you see on the pitch than you have for the last 4 years? Because he's actually free now to go forward and be creative, not be crushed as he has been for the last 4 years. And what would we be like if we were in his position in 4 years, not being able to express yourself?
He still scored 11 goals last year. You know, it's a valid point, but he did score 11 goals last year. But Jim's spot on, because even Andros, I don't want to talk about another team for too long, but Andros Townsend said in his post-match interview for Everton when he got man of the match the other week, I'm allowed to express myself now. Last season at Palace, I was told to defend. So I think it's the same for Wilf as well. So Roy did what he had to do. He kept us up for 4 years, but, you know, we needed that change, and we got the change, and it's a breath of fresh air, isn't it, for everyone, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
There's back to Connor and Edouard and Wilf as a three, shutting down the Oppo, because they looked at it last night.
Yeah, but that's because we play a much higher system now, whereas before we played in our own half. Now we're defending in their half. So our back four are on the halfway line, which allows the midfield and the front three to get closer to the opposition. And you can see the way Vieira wants to play. He wants to close people down, win the ball high up. And when you do that, which a couple of times it happened last night, Gallagher, for the IU chance, won the ball sort of like 15 yards outside their box purely because he was close enough to go and close it down. That's happening all the time, and that looks quite good. And it's just the way he wants to play. And it's much better defending in their 18-yard box than in our own.
Indeed.
Oh no, without a doubt, Jay. So the crowd. I mean, I could hear it on the TV. I mean, Gallagher just gets the crowd really up for it. I know when Wilf gets the ball, people start buzzing, but Gallagher seems to have breathed an absolute breath of fresh air through the club.
And he's got a song already as well, hasn't he? He's got his own song. So that goes to show what impact he's made in the first 6 games. He's got his own song already. You know, there's some players at the club have been there for a while and they haven't got a song, have they? Like Joe Wall, for instance, he hasn't really got a song, has he? I don't think. The fans are really warm to him, haven't they? Really warm to him, and everyone's talking about, you know, can we sign him? Can we sign him? But he's a breath of fresh air, isn't he, Gallagher? You know, and you think about, you know, the first 45 minutes, how much running he did, you know, chasing the ball down, chasing the causes, and he's still got the energy in the 47th minute. That's when it was pretty much to make that run into the box and get the penalty. So that shows what a player we've got with us this season. Now,
and then Jason,
really to enjoy it and just.
Jace, you said pre-show you needed to go and have a lie down at half time because you were exhausted from all the shouting and singing in Block E. Tell us more about that.
I was knackered. I've got some mates who were in front of me, and the section around me, it's pretty much emptied out. And they walked up the steps, and I was literally laying across about 4 seats. And I was just for the sheer singing. I mean, the atmosphere didn't stop. We never stopped singing, and there were some times, you know, in the ground where it was just the whole ground was just rocking, wasn't it? I mean. When Sellers at night can be a special place, can't it? But last night was rocking and rolling. And I've got a few guys at work, Chelsea fans, Tottenham fans, and they say the atmosphere on the television, you don't hear that in Premier League. You don't hear many grounds at all here. That sort of atmosphere. And it was it felt white hot. You know, it did feel special. Did feel special. It was good.
So yeah, I think the noise at half time was special, wasn't it? Yeah. Sorry, Joe, go on.
No, that's all right. Just before we cover the second half, so I didn't want to mention this, but Nick said to me, where were the Crystals? They weren't here at the Spurs game, and they weren't there last night. I mean, it might be telling you something about them. I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, that's not going to affect it if they come from the car park into the, you know. No, really.
They could wear masks, couldn't they? Mask up.
Anyway.
Yeah, no.
I think it's all to do with COVID because I can't even go down onto the. I normally take people down into the dugouts and sort of they have pictures taken. I can't get past a certain area now because of COVID regs. That's just the Premier League's instructions. So there's no way they would be allowed anywhere near the pitch under present circumstances.
Okay, well, there we go.
Yeah.
Right, so the second half, sort of a very even second half. If you can cut off, mate.
Yeah, okay. So I just felt in summary of the second half, Brighton did get more into it. And early on in the second half, clearly they had a rocket up and they didn't like being behind at half time. And I think in particular, the threat they had was Dunk and Duffy up from the back from their set pieces. These guys are man mountains, aren't they? Both of them. They got their head on balls, but Guita was equal to it on 2 or 3 occasions at least. And you know, there were chances. I think Wilf was a threat down the left a lot in the second half, as well as he was in the first period. I think the offside chance was an opportunity. I mean, it wouldn't have counted had Wilf scored that. Edouard put the ball through to Wilf and he was trying to stay on, but he was so far off to begin with that it was almost impossible. And Edouard might have, if he looks at that back, he might think, I was never going to get him onside there. Therefore, I needed to have another option. And Ayew was on his left I was playing down the right for most of the game, but he was on the left at that particular point, and he might have chosen a different option, Edouard, for that particular one. But I think the subs were probably the right time for me. A double substitution. We needed fresh legs on. We were there to protect the 1-0 lead. Yeah, we wanted a second goal to finish it off, but I was okay with both substitutions. Kouate for Luca and Benteke on for Edouard. I think it was about 72nd minute. And about 5 minutes later, we get the AO chance, So Gallagher wins the ball, as you said, the high press Jim in their half of the pitch, through to Benteke, who feeds in Ayew, had Wilf on his left, but he fed in Ayew unmarked. Now, I think Thierry Henry took this apart on Sky, from what I gathered, from what I saw afterwards, and he could have squared it back, but you can't blame him for shooting. You can't. He's a striker. You can't blame him for having a go. Obviously, he's missed the target. And another time, you'd like to think he dinks the keeper and he scores. But it was a real big, gilt-edged opportunity to make it 2-0. And it was a great shame that he didn't take it. I think he is a player suffering from a bit of confidence. And Patrick Vieira talked about that in his post-match interview as well. Ayew then gets subbed for Schlupp on 86 minutes. And then, we're into stoppage time. Now, where I sit in the main stand, mate of mine, Minnie, he always says to me, Nobby, get your phone on, and I have to put my stopwatch on for stoppage time. So I was a bit late putting it on last night, about almost a minute into it. So I put it on. It was showing 3 minutes when that bloody goal went in, before we all put our heads in our hands. But Guita, I don't understand what came into his thinking to take the kick like he did, because... all he's got to do, how many times do we take a short goal kick with two centre-backs either side of him, just tippy-tappy for 2 or 3 minutes, waste a bit of time? He could have done that. He could have launched it into the Arthur Waite, into Rose Ed, all kinds of options. But one thing I did notice, he did take a knock just a few moments before that, and whether that's affected him in any shape or form, I don't know, it could have done, but it was regrettable. I saw in the chat earlier, someone said Gay centre-back should have got his head on it, and he could have done. He sort of ducked out of it, thinking it was going to run through to the keeper. So, you can analyse it to the cows come home, but it was just one of those moments when head-in-hand moment, and you think, oh, my goodness me, we were so close but so far. And they celebrated like they won the league. I mean, my goodness me, And you can't blame them. If that was down at their place and it was reversed, we would have done the same. So there you go. Sort of summary of the second half for you there, Jill. Hopefully it's not too far off the mark.
Yes. Cheers, mate. Well, Jay, can you pick the bones out of that goal anymore?
Yeah, so like Ian said, he did get fouled just before, and it did look, I looked at it today, it did look a lot of discomfort with his shoulder. Anyway, so what happens is he gets fouled, we get a free kick. Now, what happens is most of the Palace players, they sort of wander over towards the main stand side. So it looks like he's going to kick the ball over to that side. Now, it looked to me like he sort of slipped as he kicks the ball, and he kicks the ball straight down the middle. Now, you've got to give the Brighton player a bit of fair dues. He volleys it back, so the ball doesn't even bounce. Goit has kicked it, he's volleyed it back straight down the middle, and like you say, for me, yes, he sort of ducks out of it. He can head the ball's right in front of his head, but I think he thinks he's going to go through to the keeper, so he leaves it. And then we all know what happens. He's through and goal, and we all know, and to be fair, it's a good look, because as Ian mentioned earlier, Welbeck had the same sort of opportunity in the first half and didn't do nothing with it, did he really? But it was a warning sign, because them balls through the middle, as good as our centre backs are, they do look a bit wary about them balls through the middle, and it's gone through. It's to be fair, it's a great lob, and it's heartbreaking, isn't it? And I've watched it a few times today. We can analyse it for hours. There's no point. I just think that it's a mistake. It's a bad kick by the keeper. It's not the first time he hasn't kicked the ball very well. I'm not going to dig him out big time, but his kicking is not his strength. And it's a bad kick because all the players, like I said, have wandered over to the main stand side. All our team was over to that side of the pitch, and he's kicked it straight down the middle. He's volleyed back by the defender, and it's a good volley. And they've lobbed at the keeper, and it's 1-0 when it's going over in literally the last, pretty much the last tick of the game. we can analyse it. We can talk about it and kick it
Yeah,
into the main.
I'll come to you in a sec,
Sam
Tim.
hasn't done it, has he? You know, it's happened, isn't it? It's happened, isn't it? And it's gutting, isn't it? It's you know, it felt like a loss. It felt like a loss, but
it is unfortunate.
fine.
So I'll come to you in a sec, Tim.
There's no
Jim,
point digging people out.
that
It's
ball
happened,
comes
isn't
to
it?
you and you're
Yeah.
no,
Well said, Jace.
without a doubt. But so from a personal point of view, that ball gets volleyed back. What do you do with it, Jim? If you're Gay, what do you do?
Well, he should have headed it away. It's simple as that. But he saw the player on his right hand shoulder, and he knew that he wasn't going to get it. But he obviously didn't know what was two players to the other side of him, and that was the lad that scored. So he's made a mistake. But I mean, I analyse probably games different from maybe you would, and I look at when the ball came in and Gaeta punched it out. We won the ball on the edge of the box. It went out to Wilf, who was fighting the guy to get it, and it looked as if it went out for a throw-in. The referee only turned round because he was still on the floor. So, to me, by him being on the floor, it didn't look like a challenge to me that any significant. Most keepers go down nowadays, roll about, and there's nothing wrong with them. But because he then got the free kick back in his box rather than a throw-in on the halfway line, he's miskicked. So there's a culmination of things that went on there. And I was annoyed that I thought, well, he's just punched it. Why is he going down? He's come out, he's rolling his shoulder, and then he's taken a kick, which he needn't have bothered about, because we had the ball on the halfway line. It had gone out. I don't know if it was a throw into them or a throw into us. Wilf was fighting the guy for the ball. And then obviously, you're right, Jess, his kicking is not that good. And if that had been a ball knocked back to him, I could understand if he had to hit it quick and he's miskicked it. But it's a dead ball. I mean, he shouldn't miskick that sort of ball. But so there was about three different elements there. The centre half should not have let it bounce, let it past him. The keeper mapped up, and maybe he shouldn't have gone down looking for a bit of sympathy from the ref. So I rest my case.
Well, there you go. You're always going to get a different opinion from someone who's been there, seen it, and done it. Tim, how gutted were you about that?
I have to be honest, and I did swear a bit. Not like me at all. I was gutted, but then I also looked back over the last couple of years and thought, well, how many times have we done this to them? And I have to be honest, yeah, I was disappointed, but I was really pleased the way we played, the amount of passion they showed. It actually meant something. You look over the last few years and the games against Brighton, how tepid we've looked, how ineffectual, how like they've dominated us. Yes, we've gone and got results, more by luck than judgment. And now I've got to go into work today and face a Brighton fan. So, we'll see how it goes.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can give it that they never went top at our ground,
Oh, yes. Already have.
And the hatred that they have for Wilf is fantastic, because he just seems to have the hoodoo over him. No matter what, if he's not scoring goals, he's always involved, and they really do dislike him, which is absolutely fantastic. And like you say, this is how much it meant to him. And I know that we celebrated the same way with Benteke scoring that volley in the empty Amex last year, and we mugged them there, but we mugged them for 3 points. This one, they've had 2 points off us. There's no doubt about it. I thought we were much the better side. But so when they score, they give it a bit like Wilf did. Mope gives it to the family end. Celebrate like they literally have won the World Cup, which is understandable. It's on our patch. I understand that completely. What happened at the final whistle was unfortunate, I think, because they carried on celebrating, and I think someone, maybe Sanchez, has said something to Maka, or Maka as I'm told that he made a hand gesture to Sanchez. after the final whistle, and he took exception to that, and it kicked off. And then it doesn't take much to get everyone involved, and everyone did get involved. And Sanchez and Maka were booked after the final whistle. But it was. I was watching the game with my son at half time. He said, "What do you reckon the score will be, Dad?" I said, 3-0 or 1-1, and it didn't surprise me, the 1-1. And as we all know, like the last 3 games at Selhurst have been 1-1. So it's a hard 2 points to lose, because I think we deserved those last night. But just for keeping in the game and Brighton hitting us on like we've done for the last 3 or 4 years, it's a bit of a pill. But anyway, so a friend of the show, Kieran Maguire, put a tweet out last night. Ian, I didn't see it because I'm not on Twitter anymore. But I know you got involved in the answer, so tell us what he said, because he's always good value, Kieran, and I do like him, even if he's a Brighton fan.
I did, and it really made me smile, this tweet, and I replied on behalf of Red and Blue Review, because I was on the Red and Blue Review Twitter account, guys, because I've been banned on my own Twitter account, permanently suspended, which is another story. So anyway, so Kieran says on his Price of Football Twitter account last night, they say good things come in threes, and today, 9 a.m, open a new jar of Marmite. 2 p.m, granddaughter born. 10 p.m, Neil Murphy scores a 95th minute winner. Sorry, 95th minute equaliser, not a winner. 95th minute equaliser for Brighton at Selhurst. If the Baroness keeps her promise of dressing up as Olive from On the Buses when I get home, this could be one of the greatest days ever. So it did make me smile. I don't know what he gets up to and how his mind works, but there we go. So I said, congratulations on the Marmite and the granddaughter. Do tell us how you got on with the Baroness. So there we are. So we'll have to get him back soon, I think.
Tim, what we got in the comments, mate? There's a few.
Someone by the name of Nick Philpott, I don't know, plastic fan or something. Sanchez was baiting the Holmesdale, and Maka told him to stop it. Then it all kicked off. I must admit, they didn't show any of that down here, so I wasn't sure what was going on. Paul Burstow, Sanchez struck Maka during the game and could have been sent off, and I think Jimmy told him so after the final whistle. So maybe that's what it was. Teresa Baker, hello Nurse Teresa, says, would love to know, Ian, why you're kicked off that thing you said you were kicked off on.
Well, I'll tell you briefly. I was hard done by it. I used the word scouse in a tweet, and I got accused of using hateful language. So there you go. Nothing too dramatic. But I was on a final warning, so maybe that was it. But Twitter, don't want to know. Hey-ho, I'll have to set up another account, won't I?
Well, anyway, that's the review of last night. Like I say, I'm not surprised. I'm still a little bit gutted. Go on,
Joe. Can I just say one thing that hasn't been mentioned yet? Benteke, when he came on, for me didn't do enough for me at all. Didn't put in the performance that we needed from him for 20 minutes. Especially how much Edouard, he ran for lost causes all game, didn't he? Run himself into the ground. Benteke comes on for 20 minutes, and he didn't do anything right, did he? There was a moment in injury time where he's got the ball from a corner, and he puts the ball out straight away. That's just one example. His headers were finding Brighton players. He didn't put himself about. He didn't hurt them. He just frustrates the life out of me, as you well know, Joe. And last night, he didn't. 20 minutes is on the pitch for, and he didn't put any performance in. Nothing. He didn't do anything. He let us down last night. He didn't put in a performance we needed from him for 20 minutes. It didn't hurt their defence. Didn't put himself out.
So he put in.
I know exactly what you mean.
He was a right sub.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, Jay. But the thing is, what not to do, which I know I'm guilty of other times, is player bashing, because I thought we played all right last night, and I think what highlighted for me, what was highlighted for me was the work ethic of Edouard versus the work ethic of Benteke
brilliant.
when he came
Brilliant.
on. You know, that's the thing. But the thing is, it's not lost on anyone, and it won't be lost on the playing staff. And I'm sure that you know, next game, I can't see, unless it's literally strategic, why Benteke starts over Edouard, because you know, the closing down, I think now seems to be the big part of our game. And I don't think he's got it in him. He's a big guy. I don't think he's you know, he's 29, 30. So yeah, I mean, he put that the one thing he did do, which I can see Laurie Scott's turned around and said in the comments immediately. He said he put a cast iron pass through to Ayew that should have made it 2-0. So yeah, I mean, as that goal goes in, he gets an assist, and everyone goes, "Yeah, great. He's only been on a few minutes. He gets an assist."
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
You know, like I say, I didn't want to turn it into. For me, my personal point of view is,
No, I'm not bashing the
think
ground. No.
other people that were there, like, and no, but you know, I'm not an Ayew fan, and haven't been for a long time. One goal in 42 games is not good enough for me. So I'm hoping Elise gets his chance against Leicester, which leads us straight on to. Okay, before we go on to the Leicester game, team stack around that first.
I just wanted to mention Luca. I was a bit disappointed when I saw his name on the starting team sheet, but I actually thought he had a really good game. I mean, he was actually passing the ball forward. He looked a lot more, whether the break's done good, but he seemed to be a lot more on the pace. I thought to a certain extent, it was a little bit like Luca Revolt. I was quite impressed. I was thought he had quite a good game.
Jill, can I come in?
Yeah. Yes.
Jason, I agree with everything you said about Benteke last night for the last 20 minutes, but I don't think it was just Benteke. I'm going to contradict myself a bit here, because I said earlier I thought the subs were the right subs, but actually they detracted from them. We weren't as good a side when we made the subs as before, when we had the starting 11 on the pitch. And Patrick Vieira said this in his post-match presser. He said, in the last 20 minutes, we didn't put enough pressure on the ball, his exact words. So that's throughout the whole team. And have we done that? I agree with Tim. I thought Luca had a great game. Certainly Luca and Edouard, for me, have done enough to earn a starting place on Sunday. Whether, you know, we talk about Ayew and Elise in a minute, but they didn't put enough pressure on the ball in the last 20 minutes. And I think that was part of the downfall. It wasn't the reason we conceded a goal, but part of the downfall.
Okay, so we go to the ex-pros view. On Sunday, 2:00, Jim, we've got Leicester, good side. Vardy's in terrific form, scored a hat-trick of different goals on last time out, own goal and two the right way. Do we play a more attacking side against Leicester? Because, you know, we do play well against them, you know, most of the time. Or do we keep to the team we started last night?
I would imagine he'll probably keep to the same side that he started with last night. I get your point about they didn't close down as well in the second half, but I mean it's a tough thing to do for 90 minutes, to keep chasing and closing people down. And plus, in the mindset of players, you're 1-0 up and they want to defend what they've got. So, and then the two subs coming on, maybe are not up to scratch with the game. So I think that's probably one of the reasons that happened. But yeah, Leicester, I think I can see us keeping the same side. I think Milo, when he playing, looked really good. I do like Kouyaté when he plays. But Milo's, you know, he had a bad season last season, weren't his usual self. But I think the system we play now, the way we're playing now, will suit people like him a lot easier than spending most of the game trying to defend in their own half. So I can't see too many changes. I don't know about Elise, whether he might give them a run out, but I would probably think he'd start with the same side, because they played really well. And that was his best side at the moment. I mean, obviously, Ezzy's got to come back. Olise, he's a young lad. He's learning the game in the Premiership. But what he put out last night was probably his strongest side.
Yeah, no, fair point. Fair point. Before we come to ask you guys about what you think the result's going to be, give us the scores in the comments. What you think the Leicester game's going to be, Tim? Sunday, how do you think we get on?
1-1. Again, for me at the moment, it's the performance as much as the result. But if you look at what PV has done after only 6 games and how much we've transformed, for me, 1-1, good performance as well is important.
Yeah, fair point. Jay?
Well, remember, Leicester in Europe on Thursday. Away, Leeds or Warsaw. So they're going to be a little bit tired, hopefully. Hopefully get roughed up on Thursday night. I think we'll play the same team. And I'm going to say we're going to win 3-2.
Ian?
Yeah, I'm going with a home win. I like the fact that Leicester are playing away in Warsaw on Thursday night. They'll be a bit knackered when they get back, won't they, early Friday morning? And they've got to come and play a Sunday lunchtime. It couldn't be much worse for them, couldn't it? They would have preferred a home game, both in midweek and at the weekend, but they're both away. So I think they'll be a bit knackered and we'll be really up for it. We'll have learnt a lot in training this week. We'll be taking a good look at ourselves about, losing those points at home to Brighton, and I think we'll win the game. So I'm going 2-0, actually. 2-0.
No. Tim, score?
I'll say 1-0, or 1-1, or 2-2, or 3-1. Can't make my mind up. 1-0. 1-0. And I'm saying
are
that
you going to be in Speroni's?
No, I'm not there. I'm on holiday next week. So, but I think Leicester are not firing on all cylinders at the moment. They look a bit. They've lost 2 really exceptionally good players at the back at the moment, and I just think that if we play the way we've been playing, then I can see us beating them. Yeah, they're definitely not the side that they were towards the end of last season, Leicester. I mean, even their fans are giving the manager a bit of stick. So, and when that happens, then obviously they're not happy with how they're performing. So, yeah, I'm going to go for 1-0 or 2-2 or 3-1.
Are you sure?
Well, I'm going to go for 1-1 with a decent performance again, with a more of a building performance, keeping the team together, hopefully avoiding a few injuries. Okay, well, thanks to everyone in the comments. Thanks to you guys, Jim. I hope this is what it seems to be, that this might be a more regular thing, joining the panel. So I appreciate your time tonight. Tim down in New Zealand. I think you are you off the way to working soon, Tim, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah. Thanks as always, Ian, and thanks for joining us tonight, Jay. Hopefully you can come on next time, sometime soon, Sunday night. I think Nick will be back, and you can all get back to normal. Anyway, it's been an interesting week. 4 points from the last 2 games. Should have been 6. But I'm pleased with that. I'm pleased with what Patrick Vieira is doing. I'm pleased with the way they're playing up, and it's exciting times for our club. So, until the next time, good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.